The NFL draft is just a couple of days away. It is the best time of year for so many across the football landscape. Draft time in general, right? Like baseball's draft kind of sucks, but the rest of them, the football draft, the hockey draft, the basketball draft, the WWE draft, all of those, it's going to be great. It's like you love them. It is a chance for your team to basically get players for free, and you can get excited about the future of your franchise. Now, I'm a Raider fan, so that hasn't necessarily been the case for 25 years, but you see where I'm getting at. And this year, I do think there are some teams that can dramatically change the course of their franchise. You look at how some teams have done that over the last little bit, right? The Houston Texans, an obvious example last year, with Stroud and with Anderson, and all of a sudden, they are now a significantly better team than they were before. With the Seahawks, they had a foundational draft a couple of years ago that set them up for success for years and years and years and years and years to come. By the way, they're an honorable mention for this list this year because it feels like they're a piece away from making a real move here, but that could also be a mistake. But I think this year there are some teams who have a spot and have a roster that is just a pick or two away from really doing something special. So here are the 5 teams who I think can absolutely change their fortunes coming up this Thursday in Detroit. And it's funny that it's in an NFC North town because the first team on here is an NFC North team. And in fact, there's 2 of them. I have the Minnesota Vikings. It feels like they're a quarterback away from something really dynamic here. When you bring in Aaron Jones, this defense, they've lost some, but they've added some. You have Justin Jefferson to go along with Addison, who looked like he can absolutely belong in the NFL. That this team has the pieces to, I'm not going to say, yeah, get a quarterback, Super Bowl, baby, but you can compete for a division crown. You can compete for a playoff spot. And in the NFC, just getting into the tournament can get you a real long ways. And the only thing they're missing is the quarterback. And with all due respect to Sam Darnold. Now they're at 11. Everyone in the world is assuming they are trading up to take a quarterback. Now, I am not necessarily in the J.J. McCarthy camp. I'm not even a big Daniels guy. Just based off of how small he is and how willing he is to accept that punishment. But they do feel like if they are on McCarthy and if they are right, then this team could do some pretty special things in the next couple of seasons. I think they are that close. The next one are the New York Jets. Now, they did a good job in free agency of addressing the needs that they had, specifically on the offensive line and another pass catcher for Aaron Rodgers to throw to. The problem is they addressed those spots with players who are really injury prone. And so they're in a weird spot at 10 where like the big 3 receivers are probably going to be gone. Harrison, Adunze, and Neighbors. Those guys will probably be gone by the time the Jets are picking at 10. But Brock Bowers won't be. And so the thing that the Jets have here is if they guess right, like you have to assume that one of Smith or Williams is going to miss time. And with the first round pick, I think you have to kind of solidify the depth behind them so that it can keep rolling when one of those players gets hurt. The thing is, you have to guess which one. And you have to guess which one you can fill later. Because the offensive line, this is an amazing offensive line draft, but all those amazing players probably going to be gone by the time you're picking again. This is an amazing wide receiver draft, and there's some great depth there, but the elite guys are going to be gone by the time you're picking. You have Bowers, who could be a real versatile weapon, and there are some good receivers after that, but do they make up for Mike Williams if he's the one that goes down? So they're in a weird spot where they have 2 positions that they don't need to fill, but probably will greatly appreciate it if they did fill here as the season goes on, and they just have to guess right on which one it is. I do think that for a few of these teams that need a receiver and need an offensive lineman, and there's a couple of them, or the Raiders case, they need a quarterback and they need an offensive lineman. It does seem like, at least with the receivers, if you go O-line first and then receiver in the second round, there's still going to be some guys that you're feeling really, really interested in. But this could be, if they get it right, the Jets have a chance to have a real home run here, because the Dolphins, who are also on this list, spoiler alert, and the Bills, I think have taken steps back so far in the NFL offseason. And while I am the furthest thing from an Aaron Rodgers believer, they got a really talented roster around it. All Aaron Rodgers has to do is not be dog shit, and this team could be really, really good in this division. I said the Dolphins, so we may as well just go with them next. The reason that they can change their fortunes here is they have fallen, I think, pretty far given how free agency has gone so far. They've lost a lot. And so this needs to be another one of those foundational drafts that we talked about with the Seattle Seahawks earlier, where they kind of need to hit not just the first round. They need to be a team that gets the first round right and the second round right and the third round right and gets a steal on day 3 and kind of backfills what they have lost so far. If they are able to do that, if they are able to hit the home run here, then they are back up and running, and honestly, maybe in a better spot than they were before, given the cap situation with rookies compared to that. And also, you're going to need to start hitting on these guys because Tua's going to get expensive in a minute, and you don't even really know what he is yet. So this is a really important draft for them, but they can still be, I think, one of the top teams in the league if it goes well. Another team that I think needs this one are the LA Chargers. They have lost Keenan Allen and Herbert and Austin Eckler this offseason. So it is Justin Herbert and, sorry, I think I said Herbert before. They've lost Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and Austin Eckler around Justin Herbert. So now it's Herbert and Gus Edwards and Quentin Johnson, who it kind of seemed like wasn't it last year. They are in a desperate spot here, but they also, again, need to fill in that offensive line. And this is another one where if they get it right, this is going to be a team that can be reckoned with, because I do believe in the coach that they have brought in. And I do believe in the quarterback, Justin Herbert, although admittedly that belief is fading a little bit. But if it is a Dunze or Neighbors who they get in this first round and they happen to hit on one of the later round offensive linemen, then all of a sudden this team is back to being, I'm not going to say juggernaut because I don't think they've ever been that, but this team is back to being a really, really dangerous ball club in the AFC West. And the last one for me are the Green Bay Packers. They have so much on offense, and I think they got a little bit better with Josh Jacobs at running back this year, but they need help on the defense. And the good thing for them is this is going to be, I think, a very offense-heavy first round, and so they have a chance to still get potential game changers on the defensive side of the ball where they are drafting this year. And if you get a game changer or two on that defense, we're assuming the play calling is going to be improved from a year ago. If you get just all you have to do is get a stud. But if you get a guy who can be a game breaker on defense and a couple of guys who can just fill some spots, then all of a sudden, this is looking like a true contender in the NFC. So very important for the Green Bay Packers here, but a good opportunity for them. Sorry for those watching on the video. A good opportunity for them to maybe change some things here with one good draft.